Okay, here's me hoping that this time round I'm in focus, because it was a hot mess the last video, and I still uploaded it because I'd taken time over it. But yes, today I wanted to come to you. Oh, let me just sort out the dog. Let me just sort out the dog. Like a big doofus. Hey? Yes! Everybody knows you're here and you're a big, strong, barky boy. Are you a big, strong, barky boy for your mummy? Yeah? Are you a big, strong boy and you protect us? Thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah, as I was saying, today I wanted to talk to you about some graphic novels that I'd read recently. I've been reading quite a lot of different books, but I've really been enjoying interspersing the books that I have been reading with graphic novels. So I've got a few here to talk to you about. I've got a I don't think I've ever seen a dog look so embarrassed in his life. He's barking at our garden. Our daughter is in like a home office we have in the garden. She's decided to go and play with her dolls in there. We turned it into a playroom. Dog doesn't realise that, barking, thinking it's an intruder. So I've opened the door for him to investigate, and she's gone, hi, and he's just gone, oh. What an idiot, eh? Anyway, let me talk to you about the books. So the first one I wanted to tell you is, if you are old like me, then you may remember this as a TV series and a series of books. I'm really enjoying this sort of nostalgic comeback of books and TV shows that I watched and read when I was younger, coming back in sort of graphic novel form. And they have made a Sweet Valley High, or a Sweet Valley Twins graphic novel. I mean, could you get better than that, really? I loved Sweet Valley Twins, or Sweet Valley High, on TV when I was younger. I thought it was really a bit rubbishy, but it was such like fun to watch. And I saw this and I thought, oh, I wonder if, you know, Matilda would like it. It's called Sweet Valley Twins, Best Friends, and it is Francine Pascal's book and TV series turned into a graphic novel, so it is quite true to the original source material. So if you're not aware of this, it's about Jessica and Elizabeth, and they're twins. They've always been really close, they dress alike, and they're going to middle school. And Jessica's personality is slightly different to Elizabeth. Jessica wants to be part of this popular unicorn group at school. She wants to be popular. She's got a little bit of a mean streak to her. Elizabeth is more interested in things staying as they are, her and her sister continuing to dress the same, starting a school newspaper and just hanging out with kids and sort of standing up for what's right, really. Whereas Jessica, there is like a morally grey area for her. I think ultimately she wants to be good, but she can't quite find the right balance there. So this was a good read, and the art was really good, but I really struggled to see where Jessica's sort of redemption arc came in towards the end. I didn't really see it. Maybe that is true to how the book was originally. I kind of feel like it was less obvious. I don't know. But if I was going to sum this book up in 3 words, they would be sisters, growing up, and bullying. And I gave this one 3 stars. And now for another middle grade book, I wanted to talk about D&D Dungeon Club Roll Call. This is by Molly Knox Ostertag and Xanthi Boomer, and is published by Harper Alley. And this was really a breath of fresh air, and one I was a bit nervous about starting because I haven't got really much background in D&D, and I wondered if maybe it would sort of go over my head, or I would struggle to understand what was going on. It's set in a middle school, and we follow Jess as she navigates how to maintain her friendship with her best friend Olivia, playing their favourite game Dungeons and Dragons, as well as finding new friendships and learning to allow the friendships to evolve. Because if you hold too tight, it can suffocate your friendship. So if you're like me and you're put off a bit by the D&D element initially, please don't be, because I haven't played it before and I still enjoyed the book immensely. The 2 main girls here, 2 best friends, they've been playing D&D, just as the 2 of them, for ages. And Olivia wants to branch out. She wants to bring more people to the group, and just not sure how she feels about that. And it's about navigating that and navigating your friendships as they evolve. If I was going to put this in 3 words, I would say bullying, friendship and creativity, and I gave this one 4 stars. This one is completely different. This is called Numb to This by Kendra Neely, and it's a memoir of a mass shooting. So non-fiction and obviously quite a heavy topic. Published by Little Brown Ink in October 2022. This has been on my radar for a while, and I've just sort of been building up to the time where I felt ready to read it. I think if you live in the UK, it can be really difficult to understand how this has affected young people in the US. Not having guns here and gun laws means that it's not something that we face on a daily basis, and I can only imagine as a mother how it must feel having to send your child to school, knowing how many of these school shootings have just been happening all the time. It's like an epidemic, and it's, I think this book really highlights that it doesn't stop. The shooting doesn't stop once the shooter has finished and has been taken down or arrested, because the ripples and after effects and mental impact that a school shooting has on someone, even on the periphery of that, can be life-lasting. And I just think it's really important that Kendra has sort of brought these ideas to light. So it's from her own experience, and we see how she's been safe and she's felt safe in her town of Oregon, and then a shooting at her community college just leaves her shattered. She struggles to come to terms with how she's feeling afterwards. Every time she hears of a new shooting happening, she's brought back to the devastation again and relives these feelings of panic and worry and dread. And for her, her art is a way to help her heal, and she wanted to use that art to hopefully help others who may have been through similar situations to feel like they can take control back of their life again. She uses her art in a cathartic way. We look at her as she goes through college and deciding what she wants to do, what sort of project she wants to do, and how she comes to decide that she wants to create this graphic memoir. If I was going to put 3 words to this, I would say brave, heartbreaking, and necessary. And I gave this one 4 stars. Now I want to talk to you a little bit of a more heartwarming one. It's called Squished by Megan Wagner-Lloyd and Michelle Mee Nutter. This is by Scholastic's Graphics, and it was just a real joy to read. Our main character is in a family of 9, and at 11 years old, Avery is living in Maryland and loves her life with her best friends, but she feels cramped with her siblings sharing a bedroom, and everywhere she looks there's no space to be by herself and paint, and she longs for her own room like her older brother. And so she hatches a plan to get this room, and there's some things that happen along the way, some discoveries. We look at, you know, what it might be like living in a family with so many children and how that must feel, and the family dynamic, and how to have your own space and to be your own person when you are part of such a big group, a big family. And I really enjoyed this one. It was a real joy to read and just snuggle up with. If I was going to put 3 words on this one, I'd say family, friendship, and growing up. And I gave this one 4 stars. There's definitely a theme on the books that I've been reading recently in graphic novel. I've definitely been more veering towards middle grade graphic novels, perhaps because of middle grade March happening, but also because my daughter is of that sort of middle grade age. She's 10 and she gobbles up graphic novels, so I'm always on the lookout for a book that she might enjoy, and I always read it first just to check that it's suitable. And so I have been sort of finding as many graphic novels of that sort of age range as I have. And this is another one that I found called Growing Pangs by Catherine Ormsby and Molly Brooks, published by Random House Graphic Novels. This book covers some very interesting topics, including OCD, homeschooling, and friendship. Katie, our main character, is struggling as she grows older, and her best friends of years begin to become jealous of any new friendships. And Katie starts to hear thoughts that buzz around in her head and tell her that by turning a light on and off, or to tap something a certain number of times, that things will be okay. I really loved in this how the depiction of OCD is shown as these sort of bees buzzing around her head, getting worse as she you know, starts to feed into these feelings. I really liked the way that family worked with this. I loved the conversations she had with family about what was going on with her, and the fact that she felt she could have these conversations. And they didn't happen instantly. I think that's quite realistic. I think children have to have time to process and feel brave enough to share these thoughts and feelings with a grown-up or a trusted adult. But I did enjoy the process, and I really appreciated how we got to that stage. I think if I was going to give this one 3 words, they would be mental health, friendship, and growing up. And again, this was a 4-star. The final book I want to talk about is one that I haven't actually got here because I've lent it to the teacher I work with at school. My year 6 class at the moment are looking at Syria and the Syrian war, and they're reading a book called Welcome to Nowhere, I believe by Elizabeth Laird, which is a fiction book from the perspective of an 11-year-old boy who is living in Syria, and it's a story about what happens to his family. So they're learning about the protests, about the civil war. And I found this graphic novel that said it was written by a boy who was living in Syria around the same time, and decided to set up a social media account to show people what the true impact and what it was truly like living through these consequences. So I'll put the picture up for you, but it's called Mohammed Najim War Reporter: How One Boy Put a Spotlight on Syria. It was published by Little Brown in 2022, and it was written by Mohammed Najim plus Nora News and illustrated by Julie Rabin. So Mohammed grew up in eastern Ghouta in Syria, and then at 8 years old the war began. Feeling helpless, he wanted to spread awareness of what the innocent people who were stuck in the war-torn country were facing. And so he started using social media to post stories and images, and interviewed Syrian children to document the humanity of the Syrian people. I really had to take this one at a slow pace. I had to take it in small chunks. It was quite a lot to digest. I also wanted to go off and research things myself and read up more about it, because I was very ignorant about the Syrian war. This one was an easy 5 stars for me. It really left me choked up and made me think, and made me think about things that are going on in our world outside of our own little bubbles. If I was going to give 3 words for this one, they would be powerful, true story, and informative. And as I say, this was clearly a very high 5 stars for me, and my favourite graphic novel that I've read recently. So let me know, is there any graphic novels that you've read recently you think I should read? Anything you recommend? I mean, I'm looking at my shelves behind me now. I have a lot of graphic novels. We have pretty much read all of the ones that I know are out there that are middle grade. But please let me know down below in the comments any that you recommend, and if I haven't read them, I'm certainly up for finding them and giving them a go, because the more the merrier in our house. We love a good graphic novel. So anyway, I hope you are all well and having a good Easter time. I will speak to you next when I feel like picking up the camera, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye for now, BookTube.